Hey, this is Bobby Barrack at the 2012 Sacramento ISE show, and Kent Brown just dropped a jig right down. Thanks, Kent. And Jody Only has got a question or two for me. What's your question, Jody?
How do you feel about BSS banning the Alabama?
Oh, Matt, when was the last time a bait or a technique showed up that was as productive as that thing seems to be? I can somewhat understand it. A bait that's that effective. I know that there was a few lakes that banned Cincos, a few private clubs that banned Cincos at one point in time because the baits were so effective. In competition, I get everybody's looking for that edge. Paul Elias is just going to have to figure out a different way to catch him. I know he makes it look easy with that Alabama rig, and a lot of other guys. I mean, it's a simple rig to throw. Tie some cool swim baits on it, toss it, wind it back slow, and hang on when something tugs on it, right? So, I don't know, maybe they want those guys to dip into their box of tricks a little bit more and maybe create a little more skill as to how they go about catching a few more fish. But I'll tell you, and that was the fall when that thing was really excelling. I have only been throwing that thing since Elias won that tournament a while back. So I don't have a lot of time with it. I know the stripers in the Delta love that thing. So I mean, it looks like a school of fish going through. It looks like you're at an aquarium, that Steinhardt Aquarium in San Francisco, Monterey. You've got those forage fish that swim around together in a nice little tight group, and that's exactly what that thing is. And so I can, if you're gonna outlaw a bait, I guess that's the one to do it. But I know that's a long answer for your question. I probably never did answer your question, but it's I don't know. It's too bad, but it's probably a good thing. Guys can still fish recreationally with it. Guys are going to still throughout the country catch a lot of fish with it. Just guys aren't going to be able to win any Elite Series tournaments with it. So I don't know. I guess it's a good thing. Maybe.
What are you fishing for largemouth on the Delta with right now?
Largemouth on the Delta right now. The best bite is ripping. Ripping is the best bite. You could go out one day and you can have an 8-pound limit. You can go out the next day or change your area and have a 17 to 21 pound limit. With a 5 or 6 pound kicker. And then there's some places in the river where you can go throw it and maybe get 2 or 3 bites, but you'll have 2 for 11, 2 for 12. So it's all over the board. Consistency, getting bit every day, probably the rip bait. The drop shot is going to get you some bites, get on the outside of a weed line. 8 to 11, 8 to 12 feet of water, fish extremely slow. Who wants to do that, right? But that's a great way to get bit. And then the jig bite's starting to come around. Glimpses of the jig bite have been showing up. And the last 2 great days that I had on the river since January 1st were both involving a jig. The spinnerbait bite, a couple weeks away. 2-3 weeks away. They are biting it a little bit. Can't catch a limit with it yet. That's going to change. And that chatterbait bite's going to right around the corner too. So that's kind of a quick synopsis as to what's going on with the river right now. And as this, we're getting some weather right now, which is a good thing. It's going to stir things up a little bit. Ever since January, the first part of January, everything's been so flat and so calm, and it's almost like deer hunting in October during a drought. You step on a little twig, clack, and everything in the forest can hear you. Well, the largemouth have been the same way. That first part of the year, you look for those shallow fish. There's no wind, there's no nothing. It's flat, pancake calm, and you got to make extremely long throws. It's like fishing at Havasu or Mead, real stealthy. So this right here, this weather that we're getting right now with precipitation, we got some wind finally. That reaction bite will start coming around. That river's going to start to loosen up. So good things are coming down the pipe.
So you putting on a buzz frog yet?
This year? Yes. I've had a couple follows. I have not been eaten on the buzz frog this January yet, but I did have 2 really nice fish follow it, and I was really surprised where they came from. So it's turning into a pretty good search bait too. But they will start eating that thing 3rd week of February, 1st week of March. I know they eat it the 1st week of April, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Who do you hope your team gets in
We need a defensive end, and we need a. I'd like to see McCourty go back to cornerback and get us. We need a Palomalo is what we need. Okay, we need a strong safety. We need a number 43 with long flowing locks out of the back of the helmet that could knock the socks off of people. I will take that. Or an Alden Smith type DN, a Jason Pierre-Paul type DN. Give us one of those guys. Brady's got 3, maybe 4 years left, and I want to see him get. I want to see New England surpass the Steelers in rings before he's done. And I will be really happy, and I will ring your phone off the hook when that happens.
All right, thank you, Bobby.
You bet.